You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis on all things sports. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, subscribe to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports, and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Are you looking for a place to listen to your favorite music and sports? Look no further. WLSN, the Lieb Sports and Music Network, is a web-based music and sports network. Our network was created to provide authentic, high-energy entertainment through live streaming to a national audience. We play popular music while hosting podcasts from all over the world. Curious? Check us out on the web at liebsports.com. That's LEEIB sports.com. Or find us on the TuneIn Radio app. Got Alexa? Just say, Alexa, play WLSN on TuneIn. WLSN is America's #1 blog-themed sports and music network.
Hey, everyone in, let's go. Huddle up on 3. 1, 2, 3, huddle up.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night. If they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
Extremely proud of you guys on your focus and your ability to lock in all week long this week. So, what I'm going to do now, okay, because you're a brand new head football coach.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
We did it our way, baby! We did it! We did it! We did it!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Huddle Up Podcast, Tuesday night, February the 8th, 2022. We are glad to be back with you after a bye week. We took off Pro Bowl week, but we got to be back to preview the big game, the Superb Owl. I don't know what the rules are. We can say that those two words. I know some people can't say those two words in like a broadcast. So, but we are glad to be with you. I think Kyle may be joining us in a little bit. He's on assignment for his own stuff. If he joins us, we'll get a chance to talk to him about that. What's going on, Devin? What's up, everybody joining us live? Give us a like and a share. We'd appreciate that. Check out our social media at Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook and Twitter. You can get our merchandise over at whatamaneuver.net.
What a maneuver!
Of course, our networks and everything. You know all about that. Kyle says he will be in soon. And he said he saw AJ Hawk twice today, thanks to Matt. So, Matt, how are we doing tonight, buddy?
Doing well. We'll see how this Sixers game finishes up. But for now, looking forward to the game this weekend. Looking forward to some festivities in Philly this weekend as well. So all good things.
You're going down to a game, right?
So I'm going to Wing Pole Friday morning, which is the Philly tradition right before the Super Bowl. But then I might also be attending the Sixers game that night. It's still up in the air.
Very cool. EJ, how we doing this week?
Doing well. Looking forward to the game this weekend. I mean, it's sad time because football's ending. It's been a fantastic year. But
we have the USFL coming back. I mean,
oh yes, right, got that too.
I mean, I'll check it out. I haven't even really heard it. Do they even have teams? Like, do they have rosters yet?
Is it 8 teams?
Yeah, 8 teams. They're playing in one location for this year just to save on cost.
Right.
But there's like eight host cities that will eventually host a team. So
right.
We'll see how that goes. And I think the XFL comes back next year. So alternate football is I guess alive and well in this country, so why not? But yeah, we have obviously the big game to talk about this coming Sunday. But a couple of things before we get there. During our week off, Tom Brady officially finally announced his retirement. Yes, Kyle, RIP AAF, the American Alliance. Is it Alliance of American Football? Is that
correct? That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Tom Brady retires. I don't want to go into anything long. I mean, we don't want to give the GOAT his due without Kyle being here, so we'll save that for another day. But this is like a question that I was bouncing around like in my head, and I think I put it out on social media. But with Brady retiring, because like for the right reasons, for the wrong reasons, that's a whole different debate.
Mhm.
Tom Brady, arguably the most hated quarterback in the NFL, just from winning and whining or any other reason, that people wanted to dislike him. But now that he's retired, who now fills that spot? Who's the new most hated quarterback in the NFL? EJ, we'll start with you.
I mean, that's easy. I mean, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's as easy. I mean, and it's obviously the narratives too. You follow everything from the stuff with the COVID stuff, and now you're hearing the report about him and his. I guess if you believe it's true, if you follow his TMZ shit, that him and his fiance that called off their engagement because of supposedly Aaron Rodgers very controlling. So all these narratives around, and it's gonna get worse. Now that him may or may not come into Green Bay, it's gonna add to the hatred.
Sure.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he's had like a weird, again, right reasons, wrong reasons, not the time or place.
I will say that the one wild card is Patrick Mahomes, not because of him, because his brother.
Again, it's the same thing, and again, it's when you're on top of the league from stats wise, winning. Mahomes and the Chiefs have been up there for a few years in a row, and then of course you combine his brother, his fiance, fairly unlikable from a public persona anyway. Yeah, I don't know any of them personally, but yeah, it adds to that just aura around them that people don't like.
I find the brother more unlikable than the fiance. At least with Brittany, you're supporting your husband, whatever, and you're passionate. But
I think a little bit of that is overblown. And I remember a couple of years ago, like there was a story of the two of them had gone out to eat. It was right around Super Bowl time in Kansas City, and like nobody really came up and bothered them like during their meal, and like they paid for like the entire restaurant's bill.
Right.
Again, I don't know if it's true or not, but like, so it's I don't think there, but yeah, his brother, definitely has a whole kind of social media following and dislike around him. And unfortunately, the right reasons, wrong reasons, there's probably more reasons bleeds into Mahomes. Matt, who do you think is the most hateable quarterback in the NFL now?
Yeah, I would say Rodgers is the pretty easy choice in that regard. Just because of, I know that the fans of other NFC North teams, he gets under their skin anyway, just because of his success over time. I would love to say Danny Dimes, but there's nothing to really hate about him. He just sucks.
You almost feel bad for him, right?
Sucks. I mean,
you dislike him twice a year when he's playing us, but besides that, you just feel bad. Oh, you're the quarterback for the Giants. That's got to be awful. That's just poor guy.
Really is poor guy. No, seriously.
Yeah, like I put it out on social media last week, and even last night we were previewing the episode. The general consensus from people is either Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes. I don't think I've seen a different answer otherwise from people. My brother checked in. He said, like if Deshaun Watson lands on a team and attempts to actually end up playing next year, then he may fill that role, because all of the stuff around him, which has kind of gone silent because out of sight, out of mind. If he comes back, then I think you'll see a lot more of that come up, but Aaron Rodgers seems to be the most popular answer. I would tend to agree with it. But yeah, it is definitely now if Brady unretires next year,
He said never say never. He said
right.
yesterday.
They were talking about that on Dan Patrick today, and Michael Irvin had a pretty great great response to it. That like he's been out of the NFL for a week, and he realized like just being at home is a different scenario when you don't have to go back and play football next year. So I don't think he will come back, but I guess.
By the way, recommendation: watch that Man in the Arena Tom Brady series, 9-part series. Fantastic! I finished it yesterday. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely on the things to watch once the season ends here. That I think we didn't finish Peyton's Places on ESPN from like the season before.
But is that a analysis thing, or is that something that's more of a documentary?
No, he like just goes around and like just does like one-on-one like interviews with people. So it's almost. Okay. Have you ever watched Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee?
I've heard
Jerry
of
Seinfeld. Like, do you remember the concept? Like, it's just him and a comedian, and they just drive around in some nice car, get coffee. It's kind of the same concept. Like, it's just it's Peyton Manning. And they only did like 2 seasons of it, but it was a fun little watch. So, see, those are the sort of things I'll catch up on,
right?
Once the season is over. But the other non Super Bowl related topic for the night is NFL coaching. There's no longer a team without a coach. So the Bears hired Matt Eberflus. The Broncos hired Nathaniel Hackett. Giants Brian Dabble. Raiders Josh McDaniels. Vikings. Now this one reportedly because he is still the offensive coordinator for the Rams. So I guess legally speaking, he's not been officially announced, but it is expected that Kevin O'Connell will be the new head coach of the Vikings. Doug Peterson, former Eagles coach, now the coach of the Jaguars. Mike McDaniel, coach of the Dolphins. Texans promote Lovie Smith, and Dennis Allen is the new head coach of the Saints. So to you guys, Matt, we'll start with you first on this one. What out of these hires do you think is the best hire for the teams at this point?
It's tough to say because I don't think that any of them really like blew me away as like, wow, that's a great hire. It's nice to see, Doug get another opportunity. I don't know that Jacksonville is necessarily a solid move for him, but I mean, they have kind of the pieces in place that he's built success around in the past. So it could be. Giants got a good hire, I would say. I thought they were going to go the Flores route, so I was a little surprised initially when that happened. But so in terms of overall best hire, I don't know. I guess I would say Denver.
Okay, yeah, that's a solid one. EJ.
It's hard to tell because a lot of these guys are first timers. Really, maybe we don't have nothing to go on just based on what they did with their other teams as a coordinator or whatnot.
Yeah, McDaniels, Peterson, and Smith are the only three.
Like to me, I would say Peterson. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. Number one, number two, he's a definitely different vibe from Urban Meyer. So if anything, you can get more laid back and less stressful situation there. And you go into a situation with already a quarterback who's pretty good. I mean, I don't know how you may feel about Trevor Lawrence. How he did in his rookie year. I mean, but that was a fucking shit show from the word go, and mostly was because of the head coach. So you put a guy like Doug Peterson, that's had success with Wentz and for a while, and then of course Nick Foles won a Super Bowl there as well too. That little run, I gotta get Doug Peterson, at least, and I think that's something for at least for the time being.
Oh, we lost EJ.
I hate this. I don't want to rant. A good rant and no eruptions and stuff, and then this shit happens. Sorry. No, it's not Peterson though. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean Peterson sticks out to me just because I think he brings, I think he brings a stabilizing presence to that locker room and that organization. Will it result in a dramatic turnaround for the better and a team making playoffs and Super Bowls in a couple of years. I don't know. I mean, that's up to management and the commitment to them to bring in more people around Trevor Lawrence, who's very good, and building a team around him. You know, that's not that's not up to Doug Peterson and Doug Peterson alone. I think Josh McDaniels to the Raiders is an interesting hire. I mean, you bring the Patriots, you know, success and legacy around you to a team that clearly can be successful. But we'll see what can happen there.
I will say as a Giants fan though, the Daboll, like I don't get too high and low about these like hires anymore the last 6 years because the Giants have had a lot of retreads and Ben McAfee was a failure and Pat Shurmur was a retread and obviously Joe Judge was a disaster. But my initial feeling about Brian Daboll is that I kind of feel good about it because of the way the streamline of Joe Schoen as a GM in Buffalo. They had a relationship with Daboll already, being Buffalo, and that works out too. Today they hired the DC Martindale from Baltimore. So on paper, I do like what they're doing here in New York. But again, you gotta show me. At this point, I'm tired of hearing about.
It's a lot of new. Devin, who's a Dolphins fan, so he's not. Don't know about the Dolphins' new coach. I think that's the thing with a lot of these coaches is we just don't know.
First time.
What I found to be pretty interesting, that this time around you had 9 head coaching jobs and you didn't have a lot of retreads. You didn't have a lot of guys getting repeat jobs. And when you look at the 2 teams that are playing this Sunday, those weren't retread head coaches. Those are young coaches who have a rapport with their coaching staff, obviously have a good relationship with their players, and it's maybe this is a different NFL, and teams that didn't have success, that on paper probably should have. Team like Dallas, who had this older coaching staff, and everything collapses in the first round. So maybe there is something to new hires. We'll see as the next season comes around in a little over 6-7 months. And let's see, Steve here, back to our original question. He says Rodgers, for his entire legacy of failed playoff bids, and of course being a martyr for the anti-vax crowd, but mainly for him being way too overhyped. And
he's so tough though to talk about. You know this though, really, Jim. Like we forget he's actually won a Super Bowl before, but it's been so long.
Yeah.
It's been 11 years.
He's had a shitload of talent around him too to win more than one Super Bowl.
Right.
And sometimes it's been the defense that fell short, but you can't rely on that excuse every year. And I think this was one of those years. I mean, the talent that they had, they should have ran through the NFC.
Without question.
Yeah. And so, I don't put it all on him, but I feel overhyped feels like not the right word.
There is a lot of hype though around him. I mean, coming out of college, even everyone was shocked that he fell so far, and they win the Super Bowl, and they're like, look out, here comes the Rodgers revenge tour, and it was that one Super Bowl, and he hasn't done shit ever since. So,
right.
Maybe take a break from the hosting duties, from the stupid fucking State Farm commercials, and if he had focused a little bit more, I think he's always just felt like I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to do my thing, and that he hasn't pushed himself. I don't feel like these past few seasons. He's just kind of said, I need this, I need that, but show what you can do, and he hasn't.
It's certainly not a talent issue. I'll say it again. I'll stay on this hill.
Very talented.
He is the most talented quarterback I've ever seen play in this league.
I don't know about that, but he is very talented.
Right. I think he's the most talented ever in the league based on everything he does. It's just that there's a certain intangibles that hurt him. And it has to do with him playing. It's leadership, whatever it may be. And that's what separates the Brady and the Montanas and all those guys. Is Aaron Rodgers a top 5 quarterback all time? I don't problem putting him in there. I don't problem putting him top 5. No problem.
All time.
I
don't know if I could do top 5.
Look at the list, though. Look at the list, though. And look, to me, rings are just part of the conversation because Dan Marino's supporting that same area too, and he has one Super Bowl appearance.
So
I would put
I mean,
Dan Marino in my top 5, sure.
Already off the bat, like if you want to put Marino in the top 5, you want to put Montana in the top 5, you want to put Brady in the top 5.
Yeah.
So there's 3 out of your top 5. Are you putting like are you putting Rodgers in?
Like, are you putting Rodgers above Peyton?
No, at this point, no.
Okay, so there's 4.
There's 4.
So
can we come up with another one? I mean, are you
So
putting him in over Jim Kelly?
1 and 2 of Brady and Montana. That's stone cold lock. That's tier 1. Boom, and in discussion.
Tier 1 is Brady
Montana,
Montana. That's
no one-
they're
no
the
one-
only people on my tier 1.
No locked in. I mean, tier 2. I think we discussed this on either one of my podcasts, or whatever, a couple weeks ago. But tier 2 gets interesting because tier 2 has the Elways and the Brady's, not Brady's, Elways and the Manning, Peyton, not Eli, guys.
I probably put Elway above Rodgers as well. So like he's probably top 10. He might make it in like
I
9
would
or
be more
10.
willing to listen to top 10. I don't think he makes top 5 all time.
It's tough, man, because
It's like,
I don't know.
like I understand, and this is where I've always had a hard time with these all-time debates. Is the generationally the game changes dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like,
very much.
Like, are you putting where's Johnny Unitas on your list? Like,
Terry Bradshaw has 4 rings. He's not in my top 10.
He's not my top 15.
Yeah,
right.
Let's be real here. Come on. I mean,
you know what I mean. So like, it's. I think the all-time arguments, with the exception of some here or there, are a little bit hard.
The issue is there's a lot of parallels between Aaron Rodgers and
You can get out of here about Marino. Dude, if Marino had half the talent on some of these teams that like your Niners teams had and stuff, that guy would have been running into Super Bowls.
Easily.
Man, do not put disrespect on.
I watched Mike Marino in his heyday. I watched him in his prime. Trust me, the hype is true. He was that good. He had some bad defenses, and I'm talking. I mean, look, I lived down here for most of my life. There's some bad defenses in Miami, especially in the '90s.
He didn't have like a well
no running
receivers either.
No,
we had the Mark brothers. I mean, who were good. They weren't.
They're good receivers, but he didn't have like a Jerry Rice that he.
No,
he didn't have an Andre Reed. He didn't have a Jerry Rice.
He didn't have a Michael Irvin. He didn't have
zero run game and zero run game.
Yeah.
So again, don't look at the rings. The rings. I think the ring arm is stupid. It applies in basketball more because you have more impact in the game. But football, there's a little more context involved in this.
There is more, but like you can't also just write off rings. Like I don't like
I mean, we all easily wrote off Terry Bradshaw's 4 rings
because we understood the context of that.
Well, right,
great team,
like
all defense.
Because if it comes down to just rings, Trent Dilfer greater than symbol Dan Marino. So like you can't just pop up an argument with Super Bowl rings.
And the Steelers definitely 100% defense, but Terry Bradshaw played phenomenally in those Super Bowls too. So
be fair, yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Still, they're not top 15.
So, like, no, right. I don't know if I put Troy Aikman there either. Troy Aikman has 3 rings. I mean, I put Troy Aikman in the top 10. So, I mean, it's one of those things where he had the same thing. Like,
I don't think Troy Aikman's the best quarterback ever to play in Dallas.
I agree. Yeah, if you gave, you're gonna think I'm crazy saying this. If you gave me on pure talent, Troy Aikman and Tony Romo, I'm taking Romo any day.
I think Romo's the best quarterback ever to play in Dallas.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
You know, Aikman wasn't bad. No, by all means, I'm not saying Troy Aikman was a bad quarterback, but like you were propped up by a phenomenal wide receiver
and one of the best running backs of all time.
Yeah,
breakdown, the best breakdown ever for Cowboys like this for Aikman. Yeah, you had at the time probably the best top 3 running back in the league at the time, at the very least. Yeah. Well, yeah, it was something, but at the time, especially with Barry still playing at the time.
Yeah, Barry was still there.
Top 3 tight end in the league in Novacek. Mm-hmm. Best O-line in the league, or the best defense in the league.
You had Moose Johnston at fullback.
Best fullback in the league. Best fullback in the league. Yes, was Moose Johnston. Yes. So again,
Michael Irvin, and then you had a cast of other receivers around you too. So.
Irvin also top 3 receiver in the league. Also,
absolutely. There we go. I mean, even Jason agrees.
Yeah, on talent.
Yeah. So I wish Romo would have had a couple of the teams that Prescott had.
You already know this, Jim. I'm one of the biggest Romo apologists in the world. I think Romo is one of the most undervalued quarterbacks in the last quarter century.
Oh, absolutely. And like it always goes back to the bobbled snap in Seattle is what a lot of people go back to, and I'm like, man, there's so much more than that. But
I
we're
mean,
not. This isn't
the
a quarterback
same-
debate. We have a student of the game himself,
Live.
We're live from the host city of the superb Owl LVI.
From LA.
How we doing, buddy?
Just call it the 56.
There we
How
go.
about that?
I like that.
LT.
The 56.
Super Bowl Lawrence Taylor. That's right.
I'm not calling it the LT. No.
Get over it, Philly guy.
Listen, how about
No crack.
well, I don't know why the Patriots fan cares about the Lawrence Taylor reference. First of all,
There's a,
like,
there's a,
man
here you go.
in the will-
90
man
minutes in
in
the
the
show.
arena.
90 minutes in the show, and you starting your shit.
I mean, listen, you're the one who couldn't keep your mouth shut about man in the arena. That mess put me to sleep in the first episode. I got to go back with energy to try to watch it. It is not that good. It's overpredicted.
You gotta
And it's
stay with it, brother.
ridiculous.
You
I
gotta
got to
stay
sit
with
through all this just to get some good quotes because EJ recommends it, and I want to be involved on the Vibe Lounge to help my friend. The pain I go through for my people.
Records show that the first episode is probably the worst one of the 9. Let's put it that way. It picks up. Trust me.
See, friends out there
Really
students
selling me on
who
it.
are trying
So
to
it's the
make their
Phantom
show.
Menace of the documentary, is what you're telling me.
Same with the Montana documentary too. The Montana documentary, the first worst episode was the first one, and then it fucking goes nuts. I finished it today. Also, the Montana documentary.
There you go.
So well, I mean, you're only interested in that because it was on the Peacock.
Hello.
No, but listen, I see. By the way, friends, thank you. You notice that the false angst angle put me out there to advertise EJ's upcoming projects, and he doesn't even appreciate it. He's just like, I'm really a Giants fan, I promise.
I mean, he's got to defend his boy. His boy's old retired now, so he's got
Brady's retired now. I got to get my digs in now. You know what I'm saying?
Boy,
He's
he has
overtime.
like
Some of us were
18 of
actually
them.
working today.
Well, I
What was
lost
that? I'm
one.
sorry, man.
No, I lost. Well, yeah, I lost one of those boys, Matt. So one.
So you're down to 17.
17. Thank you.
All right. Let's start looking towards this weekend. And like the Super Bowl doesn't need to sell itself. I mean, the game, the weekend, everything sells itself. But like, if this, my brother and I were talking about this, the weekend, the championship weekend, if this was baseball, if this was basketball, if this was hockey, this would almost be really kind of a nightmare, quote unquote, scenario, because these are not two great NFL markets with Cincinnati and LA. Does a win here for either team like boost like the credibility of the city in their market, or is it just back to the same old? Like, are people going to care more outside of the next year and a half if there's not repeat success next season, the following season? Kyle.
Jim, that's a good question. The reason why I think to answer to either franchise is yes is simply because these are two franchises that have either not been there lately or are trying to establish that credibility right now. Granted, I don't know what the Chargers can do to get true love here in LA. I've only seen the hint of a Chargers lanyard on one staffer entirely throughout my experience here on Radio Row Media Day and on the SoFi Tour itself. Yeah, by the way, nobody told me there would be wine. What do I know? Anyways, so I think in the case of the Bengals, like if Joe Burrow gets his first Super Bowl in year 2 while defying the idiots that wanted to tell us that Jamar Chase was a bust and that defense that only has 3 starting players on it, right? 3 starting players on it compared to last year, something I only found out in researching this team very quietly. This defense has done some great things, right? That's a big deal for the Bengals to do something for the first time in a long time. And then also for the Rams to be relevant in LA to so many people are be like, oh, it's just a retread because the NFL wanted an LA team. And I get why they think that. But as far as the franchise for LA, maybe not as much, but don't tell me no one here on this panel would think it's a good thing for Aaron Donald, for Matt Stafford to both have rings. You know,
no, I mean it's a good thing. It's a good thing for those players.
Am I using the Martha Stewart defense there? It's a good thing.
I think so. I think that hit. Devin, we'll get to your question here in a second. Back to the quarterback discussion. But Matt, what do you think about these markets? I mean, it's bad NFL markets, I think is how I kind of labeled and was discussing this with my brother.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption. I mean, LA's kind of always been a basketball and more recently a baseball town to an extent. And I don't think that's changing. I think the Lakers will always be king out in LA. Even if the Rams were to win, I don't foresee it. I mean, they were just there, 2 years ago, and people still don't really care about the Rams. And they have a really good team, a lot of players that you can get excited about, a lot of marketable players on both sides of the ball, especially now with Stafford. But before that, you already had, your Cooper Kupp, you had Donald, you had Ramsey for a little bit. So if these players aren't getting the city excited about football, if their recent success didn't get the city excited about football, I don't think that that's changing. Cincinnati, I think, has that opportunity just because Cincinnati hasn't really been like the Reds are kind of have been in that purgatory that the Bengals were in for so long, where they didn't succeed enough that no one really got really excited about the Reds. So I think if it does a lot more for the Bengals being the kings of Cincinnati, if they're to get the win there, and I could see that turning into a bigger football town and that market growing. I mean, they have the Who Day thing. They've had that for a while, but people are really kind of getting pumped about that now, and I can see that really becoming an obnoxious thing by next season if they're to win. The bandwagon grows. I mean, that market is primed for the taking more so than LA.
Matt, that's a great point. Let me piggyback in to say this. That division's in the middle of the changing of the guard, too. What with Roethlisberger retiring, right? The Browns still, being the Browns. And honestly, the only competition, shockingly, and I mean that in air quotes, would be the Ravens, assuming all their injury woes are solved for. I love that you make the point that they could become relevant in what is one of the more, football-focused areas of the country, right? The stage where the sport was alleged to be invented, right? That's a great point by you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean,
listen, maybe me seeing AJ Hawk twice is a whole thing. What was that, Jim?
I said, I mean, you're how close to Canton from Cincinnati? I mean, it's not a far trek.
Right.
So the Browns have had every opportunity to be Ohio's team, and they have not snatched it. And so Cincinnati can steal it right from them.
Hell, the way the Browns are trending, the Ohio Bobcats probably have a better shot of being Ohio's team than the Browns do.
The defunct XFL could come back with an Ohio team and get more interest.
And I think like Jason's onto something here with this. He says if Burrow wins in year 2, what would you say about him versus Mahomes and possible future contracts? I think that's the biggest question, and it's the one of the other kind of topics, and I'll loop this in, is that historically the Brown or the Bengals and their ownership and everything have not been super known to spend a lot of money in terms of player deals. If you compare it to baseball, the Bengals kind of feel like a small market team. It's one of these teams that they're going to get, they might get hot for a couple of years, and then as soon as those contracts come due, nope, not touching them. Go ahead, see what you can do out there. And some of your big name guys are go elsewhere. And to me, I'm looking at two teams, one who has, a rookie wide receiver, a basically rookie quarterback. You're in the Super Bowl. By all accounts, the biggest thing you need is offensive line. And I almost feel like the Bengals have the smaller window than the team with the 34-year-old quarterback who's literally thrown a game-winning pass with his shoulder out of socket after getting his ass kicked year in, year out in Detroit. And a team that really put all their chips in the middle of the table. Just because the Bengals ownership, are they going to actually kind of change course for their franchise? I don't know. That's like the great mystery, because sure, you can re-sign and sign Joe Burrow long term, but if you're not continuing to spend the money around him, what's that going to mean for the organization? So I mean, I love the matchup. I'm curious to see what can this do for the Bengals more than the Rams. I think both teams have a pretty good opportunity for their fan base and for the organization. But great point by you too, Kyle. With all of this changing in the division with the Bengals, this is a prime opportunity all around for them to set themselves up for really long-term success at the top of that division.
I mean,
absolutely.
To follow up on your point, though, Jim, will the Bengals spend the money? We've seen them do it when they've had reason to in the past. They've taken care of some of their star players. I just don't think they've ever had anyone along the lines of a Joe Burrow. And now with Jamar Chase, that tandem, keeping that together is imperative, I think, for ticket sales, for merchandise sales. And I think they see that. I mean, not many people were getting excited about Andy, and they were about AJ Green to an extent.
And Ochocinco.
Right, but at the same time,
I mean,
when you looked at who was throwing them the ball,
the red rifle, that wasn't big.
He didn't have the swagger. I think Joe has the swagger that Dalton lacked, and that's getting
infinitely cooler than Andy Dalton.
Yeah. Listen, 100%. And that's no knock on Andy. Coming from TCU, it was a different atmosphere than down in LSU in the Bayou. So I get it, but I mean, I think now that you have these marketable stars, I don't think the Bengals will be shy to shell out the money to keep them happy and keep them in Cincinnati and break every franchise record.
And that's the key thing there. It's the marketability of it. Like Nate.
Kyle, did he just pull? I think he pulled an EJ. He just froze up.
The last Cincy player, certainly. I don't think Ochocinco got immediately famous. I think I have you at.
We got it. We're back. We're back.
Okay.
There we are.
That hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, right? I don't want to get into my technical issues getting onto the show, but what I will say is this: like Carson Palmer is your next best comparison. Because listen, I know Cincinnati was stoked about John Kitna. Woo! You know. I mean, listen, fellas, Joe. What's funny is when I talked to Joe Burrow going into the Fiesta Bowl, he was just a guy who told you what he thought when you asked him a question. And he's done nothing different since then. Even with Monday morning, when I had the virtual press opportunity with him, he's still that guy. Call me just plain Joe. I don't have a favorite nickname. And just because he's that genuine, people are taking it as swagger because when there's a big figure in the NFL, they expect it to be someone like Odell Beckham Jr. who looks like a comparative nutcase. Now, I don't think he's a nutcase, but I do feel like he's somebody that's more diva-ish. He's a receiver. What do you expect? I mean, Wes Welker was a diva too, okay? But not Wes Welker, I'm sorry, Julian Edelman was a diva too. Let's call that what it is. But Joe, people asked him, he was straight up asked if he buys all the chains and the fancy sunglasses because he's trying to portray an image. He said, man, I'm a small kid from Ohio. I just thought it looked good. Like,
right. Yeah. Like the sunglasses question. He said, I just thought they looked cool. Like,
yeah, it's so great.
I love the answer. It's great.
And having a guy like that, that's just that genuine, you know, and the fact that I even think deep down he doesn't want to be called Joe Cool by people like EJ, who's not here to defend himself, but tried to do that trash to replace Joe Montana's moniker. I don't think he's about that. He's about going in there. He'll answer the questions you ask him because he knows that's part of the job, but he is there to play some damn football, and that's why he pounded the table for his boy Jamar Chase to get in. Bottom line, that's what I read.
All right, I'm circling back here because we were talking about, you know, the changing of the guard in the AFC North, and we were talking about the top quarterbacks. And Devin had asked, is Ben Roethlisberger a top 15 all time? I don't think so.
15, I would say probably.
Maybe top.
He might be like number 15, but he's probably in there.
I'd have to map it out, and maybe this is one of those off-season topics that you know we come back to the table and revisit
Novel content.
And craft our own lists. I think some jackass hashtagged that early. Yes, there it is.
Listen, this hater here.
Even in the square, that's the best part. That's the even better part when I put that on the board.
Hey, you're the one that keeps inviting me back, baby. That's on you.
That's right. There we go. Big Mike checking in, Bengals fan. Couldn't be. I have a couple of friends that are Bengals fans, man, and I am super happy for them.
Like
I had a couple of people that I didn't know were Bengals fans that popped up on my social media feeds. Congrats to them too, I guess.
That doesn't happen a lot. That does happen a lot.
Imagine
EJ being one of them.
Hey, when I said they were number 10 on his list, he wasn't a fan of them then.
Stop. Cut the shit.
Cut the truth? What? Is that what you said? Cut the truth?
Wow. Joe Montana Burrow.
Oh, you
see,
stop.
here we go.
This is the entire thing while I'm the sleep. When you watch a Montana documentary on Peacock, though, you see some of the characteristics that Burrow has. It's a lot of similarities to when they were younger. It's a lot of similarities.
Like he could actually move in the backfield, unlike some quarterbacks that some people worship.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Matt, how do you feel about this? Would you take McNabb over Big Ben?
No, but I do love McNabb. I was going to bring him up when we were talking about Romo earlier. Just someone who's underappreciated. McNabb definitely falls into that category.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that also too.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Definitely, without question.
Yeah.
What team has more to lose on Sunday?
Easy. Well, that's easy.
Easily the Rams?
Easily.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're supposed to be here. Let's be real.
I mean, that's the easy answer, right, EJ?
To your point, though, Jim, the Bengals, I think, are probably still farther away, and I think they're very surprised to be here. So if they don't win it here, do we see the Bengals come back, repeat next year? I don't know. If the O-line doesn't get some help, probably not. But I think that they were fortunate to face some of the teams that they faced in the playoffs. So
yeah,
it's kind of one of those things where the Rams probably have a chance to come back next year too, even if they don't win.
Right,
more so than the
Bengals. Back next year.
A lot of that is the environment. The AFC, I would say on paper right now, the AFC is well set to be a much deeper conference next year than the NFC.
Yeah,
the NFC, like especially now. Okay, NFC right now you have Green Bay, but Rodgers might be gone.
Right.
So Tampa, Brady's gone. So who would replace the quarterback there? So who do you have in the NFC really that's challenging
the NFC South, and that's another offseason topic.
So
yeah, I mean, we could talk about that
wide open
at another time.
File for content. File for content.
Yeah. Because you can't answer the NFC South question until we know what the Bucs are going to do at quarterback. Yeah. But the truth is, I mean, hell, how hard do they have to look? But again, filed for content.
Right. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens back next year. Lamar be healthy next year, obviously. So they're back in the mix again. A lot of teams that were
well, not just Lamar, EJ, right? The cavalcade of injuries they had this year, right?
Yeah, for sure. That
every single running back on that team made it to IR before the season even started.
Right. Yeah, when you're calling up Le'Veon Bell in week 17, I mean, you're getting fairly desperate at that point.
And the Bengals had that was a good time as any to win the title. Now's a good time as any.
But I think the Rams, obvious answer, easy answer, but so Stafford's back. A lot of this team comes back. And they were supposed to be here. They'll probably, especially if Rodgers is out of the NFC, Brady's out of the NFC. There's almost an easier road for repeating, at least getting back here if the Rams don't win.
Yeah, I mean, even in their division, there's a lot of question marks. There's all the controversy going on with Kyler right now. We don't know
what's going on with Kyler Murray.
Russell Wilson. The Niners have, are they sticking with Jimmy G? Do they give the keys to Trey Lance? What's that season look like if so? So the Rams seemingly might have a clearer path to return, more clear than the Bengals would.
I don't know that I can sign off on that immediately. Now, granted, you do make the point, Matt, like the third and fourth best team in the division in the form of the Steelers and the Browns, they're going to be gimmies, I think. The Ravens the Ravens alone make that trip more difficult. But the fact that division's only two teams, we don't know yet on the NFC West, and I reserve the right to change my mind. But okay, I think we're reading way too much into some social media drama. First of all,
Sure.
this is
I think that's more of a contract play than it is. I don't want to be here play.
Bingo. Well played,
Right.
Jim. Yeah, I was going to say
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Leverage.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I'll put it this way: the season technically hasn't ended yet. Come back in March, I may come to agree with you, man. I mean, that's my point. We're speculating still a lot.
Right.
Kyler Murray still has, in my opinion, still has too good of an offense to walk. Now we see some of those other pieces move, then I'll join you in the speculation crowd. The Niners will always have a fantastic defense, and while Trey Lance may struggle to start with, I'm assuming Jimmy G's gone myself. He could be the face that keeps the Bucs relevant, because at the end of the day, you don't have to be an alleged GOAT to lead that team. Okay, they were competing for the playoffs with Jameis Winston. It was Winston that literally threw them out of the competition. Let's not forget that. And then honestly, the only sure change, in my opinion, in the NFC West is going to be Russell Carrington Wilson, just because it makes the most sense for him to leave. So if that tells me you got 3 tough teams in a division versus 2, by default, I'm going to say the Rams have the tougher go. Not to mention, I have no belief that they're going to retain this trove of weapons that they currently have.
No, Jason, I think you're off here on this one. Bengals one-hit wonder unless they win the big show. No, not at all. Do they make it back to the Super Bowl next year? That remains to be seen. But
right,
I mean, the pieces are there, man. And this team, again, you start to build that offensive line. I was going to say retool, but build that offensive line.
Yeah.
And this team infinitely better as well. I think you're way off base. Saying that the Bengals are a one-hit wonder. I don't think that's the case at all. Long term, again, it comes down to, and Matt and Kyle, I think you guys made great points in terms of having that marketability with the young stars. Is the long term, will they spend the money? They should, no debate there. It's will they is the big question.
Say yes, they will, because I don't think Mike Brown is that stupid enough to understand. Okay, you got 2 generational talents in this team here. They will walk if you don't spend the money.
Yeah, that's a good point, EJ. I pose it like this. Let me simplify it. Can he afford not to pay Burrow?
Exactly.
Right. How much fan base will he lose if he fails to retain Joe Burrow? Listen, EJ, you've looked it up already. You've looked it up already. If Joe Burrow wins this, if either quarterback wins the Super Bowl, somebody's getting a middle name added to their presentation on this podcast.
There it is. We heard it. No, I think Burrow's the Burrow without question will get re-signed. It's will the money be spent around him? I don't think you can't lose him. You cannot lose him. I will agree with that.
But the model for the friendly deal is there with Patrick Mahomes too. That's the last point I'll make. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, Jim.
Sure. No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I think Jason has a great point there. Talking about some of the other teams. Ravens' entire team got hurt, still almost made it healthy. They're a top 8 team.
I'll go a step further, Jason. I'll go a step further. I have no problem putting the Ravens as a favorite next year in the AFC.
Again, healthy? Sure. Why not?
Look at where they were with Lamar banged up anyway. They were literally the number 1 team in the AFC at 8-3 . Okay. And they were already banged.
I don't think you're going to retain Huntley, though. I think Huntley's going to land somewhere possibly.
Houston?
That guy, yeah, why not? I mean, he has a great resume.
Yeah.
For
that's a good one, Matt.
Very intriguing.
Aren't they in the Rodgers sweepstakes?
I haven't heard anything about that. To me, I think Jimmy G goes to Pittsburgh. Honestly.
Didn't you spit that out there a couple weeks? I'm sure you were just
me or
out there for you, EJ.
I mentioned teams that could be the mix, but
you gotta give him a break. He still had the champagne in the eyes from celebrating that the Miami Heat were in first place 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks before the trade deadline. He was celebrating.
And right now, as it's recording right now, they're number 1 seed in the East right now.
Congrats.
So, what are we doing?
Hey, listen, if you're gonna retaliate, EJ, say the damn line.
Go Heat, bitch.
There it is. Finally, before we get to our actual predictions for Sunday, keys to victory. What do you think? And Kyle, we'll start with you. We'll go around. EJ, we'll come back the other way for the Rams. We'll start with the Bengals. What's the big key for the Bengals to win?
For the Bengals, Joe needs to use his legs copiously. There needs to be a lot of boot, a lot of movement. You have to keep that defensive front honest. Period. End of story. As for the Bengals defense, I don't know how they do it precisely. I think they need to do a lot of different looks, a lot of changes. You got to confuse Stafford. It's because you got to force mistakes that way. Hope Hendrickson gets home to put Stafford on the ground. I mean, you're not going to knock him out of the game or anything like that, I don't think, because that dude's a damn warrior. We've all seen the video about him putting the shoulder out of socket and all that other crap for the Lions. Okay, so I think that the Rams. Offensive line is good enough to do the job to protect him. I feel like the key is going to make him guess incorrectly at the line. That's where that game's going to be won or lost. But because there are that many weapons, it's going to be a difficult task.
Matt, how about you? What's the key for the Bengals?
Key for the Bengals is to give some added protection to Joe. If you want, Jamar to get open, you want your weapons to get open, you can't have him being sacked 9 times again, because that Rams defensive line is a lot better than the defensive lines he's seen already. And so we can't have him, if he's taking hits all night in the Super Bowl, it's going to be a short road. So whether it's, like Kyle was saying, scrambling, get him in motion, rollouts, do that, but you need to buy him more than 3 seconds to get his team open.
Fair, EJ.
Bengals defense got to confuse Stafford. Show different looks there and there. Their offense, though, to me, this is a Joe Mixon game. The best way to neutralize Aaron Donald, neutralize Von Miller, and Floyd, all those guys, is the run game. Keep, wear them out, because they're a pass rushing team. I mean, the pass rush is amazing. Run defense, not as lethal. And I think if Mixon gets on the roll and you just have to respect the run, that opens up everything for moving forward. So I will say this is a Joe Mixon. This is why I was saying on Football's Awesome earlier that. And while I think a quarterback will win MVP, thank you, in this game, I think for the first time in a long time, the odds of a quarterback winning it is a lot lower than usual. And I think Joe Mixon has a big game, which I think he will have. That can change the dynamic. So I think Joe Mixon is the key for the Bengals to win this game.
Yeah. Let me ask the question this way: does a winning stat line for the Bengals have Mixon as the leading ground gainer, but Chase as the one with the most touchdowns?
I could see scenario playing out.
Yeah, I think that's playing out. That could certainly be. And even if you don't get run game, if you play the screen game, like Mixon running game is definitely going to be involved there. I think. Yeah,
when I say yards, I mean all purpose, Jim. That's a good
point
that you
added. Sure, absolutely. Yeah, because you're not going to stop the Rams pass rush. It's a matter of can you play around the Rams pass rush. That's to me the biggest key.
Especially with that O-line.
Yeah.
A good O-line has trouble stopping the Rams pass
because of that O-line. Like, I think mobility for Burrow obviously going to be a big thing. Getting the ball out of his hands quickly and letting your playmakers make plays is going to be a big thing. Because you can't rely on him to sit back there for 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds, because it's not going to happen very often. And that's the big key for them. Circling back on this one, Jason had asked, so my question says, if the Ravens didn't collapse, would the Bengals have made the playoffs? Playoffs, yes.
Ooh.
I think playoffs, yes, because they won the division.
Yeah, they're probably still in the playoffs.
Man, that's a walker, though.
I don't know if they win the division if the Ravens stay healthy, but I think they still make the playoffs. I think they were good enough. I think they're a better team than the Raiders. I think they're a better team than New England was towards the end, and certainly better than Pittsburgh.
Because they swept the Ravens in dominant fashion, if I remember correctly, right?
They did. They swept them. Yeah, they sure did.
And I mean, they beat Kansas City near the end too, right? So it's not like the Bengals.
Twice.
Yeah, but in the regular season.
I mean, well, they've been twice. We actually and in the playoffs. I mean,
right. But we're talking about
but you make the playoffs.
The playoff win doesn't count for this question.
But all right. But what's clear though, this is not a fluke. They've beaten some.
Yeah, they didn't fall in ass backwards. They didn't luck their way in Pittsburgh. They actually won their way in. They played great. So I don't think it was a matter of that.
Swept the Steelers, swept the Ravens, beat the Chiefs.
Swept the Steelers. Good Lord.
I mean, they were a playoff team though, so you have to at least look at it in that aspect.
Yes, because the Ravens were banged up, because the Browns were the Browns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, can we give TJ Watt a little credit?
I'm not
honestly?
discrediting him, but that if you had a comparable, TJ Watt is great. I don't think even I, a Steelers,
terrific TJ Watt, terrific.
All right, what is the Rams?
Don't be rude.
What is the Rams' key to victory? EJ, we'll start with you.
Stafford, no mistakes. No mistakes. And try to develop some run game. I mean, they don't have a run game right now.
True.
They got to do something, I mean, if Stafford doesn't make mistakes and they can mix it up a little bit, they'll win this game. Defensively speaking, I think it's important for them to get a big lead in this game too, because that makes their pass rush more effective. Force Cincinnati to become a one-dimensional team early. So if you get a big lead early in the game, that makes Von Miller and Aaron Donald even more dangerous because now you're forced to throw the fucking ball. So
good points, Matt.
I think it's on Stafford just to throw the ball all over the field. I don't really believe in Cincinnati's secondary. I think they have a lot of key weaknesses. Eli Apple looking at you. And I think those can be exploited rather quickly with the receiving core that they have on LA. So I think they have to attack them deep and get the score high quick, like EJ was saying. Get Cincinnati in a stage where they have to throw the ball to compete, because then that plays very well into LA's Rams defense's strength.
Kyle.
I'm going to make this straight defensive. Like, Stafford can make all the mistakes he wants, honestly, in my opinion, if they pound Joe Burrow like EJ dreams Tom does. Okay. And I think if the Rams have a 9-sack game, the Bengals aren't going to finish the job like they did against the Titans. Like, that's not a factor here. Matthew Stafford is not going to throw 3 interceptions, 2 of which, by the way, weren't Tannehill's fault. I mean, Stafford's fault. So, like, I feel like this is a case where we can talk about, like, the points you make are great. Although I might contend that it's not so much that the Rams can't run the ball as they kind of choose not to. Not so much as your Patriots from earlier in Tom Brady's days, or that group that lost to the Giants that you hate so much. But I think this is a situation where the run game may come up to surprise some people. Listen, Sonny Michel, Cam Akers are not bad running the football. I think they're severely underestimated because Cooper bleeping Kupp and your check down. I've heard the one good thing I've said on the lamestream media about this game that makes a lick of sense is that Odell Beckham could be the loud edition of Jonathan Taylor from Joe Montana, right? So that's about it offensively that I think you need to account for. Is it got enough weapon? You need a lot of weapons because they're locking on Cooper Kupp. Check. That's not a problem. Also, for the Bengals, we're leaving out that tight end CJ Uzomah. His health is in question. He says he's going to be able to play.
As an hour ago,
but I'm not sure how much of a difference he'll. Sorry, EJ?
As an hour ago, he's been cleared to play. As an hour ago. That's what we heard.
Right. But I just don't know how effective he'll be. We'll have to see.
If that run game goes for the Rams, game over. Game over.
Yeah, good point.
Game over.
Because if they keep the ball out of Burrow's hands, how can he score and keep up with the shootout? That's a great point.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Jason had a similar point to you, Kyle. He said Beckham had one of his best games in a while. Him and Kupp, they don't necessarily need a running game. I think I think one of the big things is Stafford just not making mistakes. He's made them a few times that cost his team down towards the end of the season. Mm-hmm. If he can avoid doing that on Sunday, I think they are a hard team to beat. But I think the game is there to win on both sides. The Rams probably are the favorite. And should be, and betting wise, they are. We'll get to that here in a second. But yeah, it's Stafford. Don't make mistakes. Yeah, I don't think you need the run game, but between your pass rush and if Stafford can play a perfect game, I think that's a pretty big, that's a pretty big task for the Bengals to overcome. To the game itself, of course, Sunday 6:30. I'm not sure, is that the official kickoff time, or do I always do some weird like 6:33 and a half minutes or something like that
for the official by default?
Depends on how long the anthem runs.
Yeah, that's usually one of the over-unders. I don't think that's on my list. Yeah, I didn't get because I'm gonna go over some of the prop bets here in a minute. But yeah, the anthem length is always a fun one. But NBC and Peacock, the Rams are a 4.5 point favorite. 48.5 is your over-under on this one. Matt, we'll start with you. What do you think happens?
I think the Rams win by 2 scores. I'm going to take the over as well, just because I think that I'm looking at a 31-21 game. It's going to be my prediction. Rams.
You're going to say that 10-point game. You said 2 scores, like 10 points. Watch field goal.
I mean, it's 2 scores.
I could have said by 6 points and said it's technically 2 field goals, EJ. Give me a break here.
I nailed that. I'm going to say my head, like 2 scores. Like,
fine. 35-21.
No. I actually agree with you. I actually don't want you to say
you
that.
Happy now?
Yeah.
Kyle, we'll go to you.
Matt makes a good analysis, and here comes EJ. Do
you want rankings for this week?
This is why I don't put a voice actor on the show. Anyway, I wasn't ready. That's Tool Man for I wasn't ready, right?
I don't think so,
Jim, remind me, I missed the number for the over under. Can you give me that, please?
48.5.
48.5. You got the over?
You're a gutsy boy.
I can't sign off on the over because we're going to get our typical slow first quarter, I think. That being said, I like the 2 scores take. I'm inclined to think it's going to be less than 12 points. 31-21 just feels slightly wrong. I feel like the Bengals will have field goals in there. I don't see all of their scores being off of touchdowns, nor do I. I'll put it this way. I'm gonna go 31. I'm going to 31-18.
Okay.
That's still the over.
That is the over. Yeah, right.
Is that? Yeah, really? I guess that's over.
Yeah, that would be.
So maybe
that
I
would
got
be
the over.
49.
To get the over.
All right.
Slight.
By a half a damn point. Ain't that something?
Slight. Math, baby.
Of course.
EJ, we'll go to you, EJ.
The lock bet of the weekend is the under in this game. What Kyle said is true. I see a slow first quarter. I see Cincy playing keep away. I see a long 7-minute drive to start the quarter. I see the Bengals getting a field goal out of that. I don't see the Rams getting any points to the second quarter, all that. This is going to be an under game. You'll see some scoring in the third and fourth quarter, but I see a low scoring first half. So the under is the bet. I'm rooting for the Bengals win this game, but man, the Rams, I mean, they have to win this game. And I just think everything is falling into place from now. They're playing.
Oh, we lost you.
Damn it.
I'm the one with hotel Wi-Fi. How am I getting better than
it's not even the Wi-Fi. It's my fucking computer. Anyway, I'm taking the under this game. That's the lock of the weekend. Bet it, please, everybody. Shoot or shoot. And I'm going to take the Rams to cover slightly, 23-17.
Yeah, I don't do this often, but I agree with EJ. I think I think if you're betting, I think the under is the smarter play, just because of obviously the Rams pass rush against that Bengals offensive line. The Bengals have the ability to disrupt the opposing team's quarterback. Stafford has at times been prone to make some mistakes. So I think if you're making a play, I think the under is a smart play. I'll take the under. I want the Bengals to win big time, but I have a hard time seeing them do it. I think the Rams win a touchdown, 10 at most. I think the big stage might be just a little bit too bright for the young team in this one, and I think they will make some mistakes. You learn from them, come back better, build the offensive line, and I think the Bengals will be fine long term. But I think all of the gambles that the Rams made to get here have and will pay off. And Kyle,
I think the big stage. I think the big stage argument is definitely in play for everybody else on the team, but Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is not afraid of the big stage.
Yeah, and
that guy is more improving that. He's
sure.
He's
I think it's just as a team,
right. I fully agree with you though.
You could have a slow start without being afraid. I'm saying
right.
Yeah. And big stage can also, those big stage like angst or whatever can also, come down to coaching as well, because McVay has coached in said big game. Taylor has not. So
that's incorrect, actually, Jim. If you'll remember, Zach Taylor was a member of that McVay staff as the quarterback coach in that Super Bowl.
Head coach, though. I mean, so yes, he's been on the sideline. He has not head coached a game. Thank you. Semantics. But looking at
student of the game, baby. Semantics is life.
That's true. I should remember who I'm talking to. Somebody who can actually provide insight and not just EJ.
That is a disgusting act.
But some of the prop bets, I pulled some of these from DraftKings. So instead of just running down the list, like we'll go around quick, kind of rapid fire, and if you're placing your bets, how would you play these? Coin toss outcome, heads or tails? What side would you play? We'll go in the same order. EJ, Matt, Kyle. I would go tails. Tails never fails, right? EJ?
Heads.
Matt?
Tails, just because EJ said heads.
I thought for sure EJ said heads because Jim said tails, and I'm going to say tails because it never fails, baby. Jim had the correct answer all along.
That's right. First offensive play from scrimmage, pass or run. I'll go pass. EJ.
Joe Mixon, buddy.
All right. Matt.
Pass. Stafford 75-yard touchdown to Cup.
Wow. Right out of the gate.
Wow.
Kyle.
I'm not going to go so bold, but my spider sense is saying the Rams will win the toss, ergo pass.
All right. Team to record the first down, Rams or Bengals. So I guess that depends on with the Bengals being the home team, that would mean the Rams would get the option to call the toss, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Well,
okay,
yeah.
so,
I thought that works, isn't it?
So I will go Rams get the ball first. So they will get the first down. EJ.
Bengals get ball first and Bengals first down.
All right. Matt.
So I have the Rams scoring a touchdown. Does that count as the first down as well?
It does.
So then Rams.
Does
Actually,
that actually count? I don't think that counts as getting a first down.
You know what? You're right, Jim. I had to think about that. You're right. So the answer is no. He might have and then do the Bengals go 3 and out is your question.
Right. That's the other question.
I'll still go Rams. Yeah.
Oh wow, Kyle.
I think it's going to be a pass for the Rams. I think they'll get enough for the first down with an 11-yarder. Ergo, I got the Rams.
Okay. Let's see. Devin has the Bengals are going to win this week. I'm going to go Devin. I would love it. I would love nothing more. I do have the length of the anthem. Length of anthem over under 95 seconds. Who is doing the anthem?
Mickey Guyton.
Yeah, country singer.
Country singer.
Oh.
Under.
Yeah, I'm gonna go no nonsense under.
Yeah, country singer. I'll go under. It's gonna be fairly straightforward.
They don't hold Brady.
Let's be honest. If it was R&B, we would all say over because they got to hold those runs and do the fancy stuff.
Yeah. Although she is black.
Not that I have a problem with that.
I'm still gonna go fairly straightforward on it.
You're ruling me on the country song? What are you saying?
No, she's black though. She's still not holding the note though. It's country.
I can't.
Brave.
EJ can say that because no. Listen,
You can't see me.
The country singer thing does throw me for a loop. I'm
Country
with you
singers.
too with the no nonsense. 95 seconds is not very long though. But they won't make an extra production. Yeah, okay, you sold me. I'm under.
All right. Outcome of the first coach's challenge is it play stand or play overturned? I'll go overturned. I feel like you in the Super Bowl you don't want to waste those timeouts unless you know the play is going to change. EJ.
Overturned.
Matt.
If it's Sean McVay doing it, then it's going to be overturned. Stupid fucking challenges in the last game.
Kyle.
You all got a lot of faith in the Zebras. They're going to screw the call up and blow the replay. I got the play stands.
Well, I mean, that's a great point. Jersey number of the first touchdown scorer over under 9.5. I'll go over.
Say it again. Say that one.
So the jersey number is 9.5 over under. So would it be 9 or under or 10 and over? So like if Burrow would score the first touchdown, if you think Burrow's going to score the first touchdown, you would say under.
Right. Okay. First touchdown. Over.
All right. Matt.
Yeah, I said Cooper Kupp. He's 10 over.
There you go, Kyle.
Over all of the above, man. The statistics are too good.
Yeah, I mean the only way you're getting under is Jamar Chase, right? Theoretically.
Odell Beckham Jr. is at what, 3?
Yep.
Oh, that's true. Forgot about that. First team to call a timeout: Rams or Bengals? Bengals.
Bengals.
I got the Rams to squeeze in a halftime touchdown.
Ooh, okay. That's the first timeout.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Team to score on the first drive. Team will score on the first drive of the game. Yes or no? I'll say no.
I'll say yes. The Bengals field goal, long drive, like I told you.
Okay.
Yes.
We
already know Matt's answer, Kyle.
Yeah.
I have a field goal. I have a Rams field goal. I will say yes.
All right. First team to 10 points. I'll go Rams.
I'll go Rams.
Round the horn.
All right. Total yards of longest field goal over under 47.5 yards. I'll go over.
Longest field goal of the entire game?
Longest field goal of the game over under 47.5 yards.
I'll go over that.
Is it made field goal or attempt?
It doesn't say. I would assume made.
Okay.
Over. Still over.
I'll still take the over on that. Make or miss.
I got under.
Yeah, if miss is in play, I'll definitely go
Likewise.
over. I would definitely go over if miss is in play. Does either team register as safety? Yes or no? I'll say no.
No.
It's interesting. As much as we poop all over the Bengals O-line, we're still saying no here. But I too will say no.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Team to score the longest touchdown. I'll go. You know what? I'll actually go Bengals on this one.
I'll go Bengals too. I think Jalen Ramsey get burned on one play. Definitely.
I will go Bengals as well. Kickoff return for a touchdown.
Ooh, okay. Wow. Kyle? I can't tell if he's thinking or the Wi-Fi.
Oh, there it is. That was great. Kyle?
Did you hear the question, Kyle?
Rams.
Okay. Perfect. Total successful field goals over under 3.5. I'll go over.
You said 3.5, you said, right?
3.5.
I'll go over too. 23-17. That's over. Yeah, that's 4.
We get him back. He's trying to connect. Matt.
I will go under on that one.
Okay, Kyle. It's successful field goals over under 3.5.
Number of field goals older and under 3.5.
Successful,
under.
yes. Okay.
Yes, under, right.
I got 4, so it's over.
Total punts by both teams over under 6.5. Under.
Slight under.
Yeah, 7 punts is a
Well,
lot.
yeah,
I'll take under.
I was thinking
Well,
ball
I did
control.
take the under for the points.
I see a lot of ball control in this game too. So you long.
Yeah,
long
I'll stick under on the punts.
Yeah.
I don't. Kyle.
Under. So if it's a ball control situation, it's going to be unders because there's going to be fewer drives in the game.
Right.
Total players to attempt to pass over under 2.5. So that would obviously going to get in trick plays. I'll go over. We got to. I think the Bengals at some point might have
2.5.
2.5. So basically, are they going to have at least one play that's not Stafford or Burrow throwing the ball? So yeah, I'm going.
No, I'll 2.5. I'll go under.
Okay, Matt.
I'll take the over. One of the punters.
Oh, the fake punt situation. Kyle.
I didn't catch the question.
Total players to attempt to pass over under 2.5.
Not Stafford or Burrow, of course.
Okay, so if you're giving me total,
Did you go over?
One more time, Jim.
Oh, total players to attempt to pass over under 2.5. I think the Wi-Fi is getting to him. All right, we press on.
Under for him since
we press on. Either team misses an extra point, yes or no? I'll say no.
I'll say no as well.
No.
You got 2 good kickers in the game.
Is the 14th time a charm? We're pressing on. Kyle, does either team miss a field goal? Yes or no?
Extra point.
Sorry.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Will a player score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion? Yes or no? I say no.
No.
Yes.
Matt's just looking for a crazy Super Bowl. Kyle is yes.
Gambling? Are you doing a lot of gambling this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Here you go.
Big man touchdown. Does a offensive tackle or defensive tackle score a touchdown? Yes or no? No.
I'm gonna say no as well.
As much as I want to say yes, Aaron Donald, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
Hell to the no.
No. Hell no. Shortest touchdown drive over under 1.5 yards. Over.
Drive.
So does the ball get turned over on the 1.5
That's gotta
1
be
yard line?
That's got to be a mistake, right?
Yeah.
It's over, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Maybe DraftKings forgot another one.
Yeah, go bet that quick if you can.
Something. Yeah. Get a hold of that one. I think we're all going over.
Yeah, way over. Watch it be wrong though.
Yeah, really. Last team to score, Rams or Bengals? I'll go Rams.
I'll go. Geez, what did I say on the show today? Did I say Bengals? Bengals.
Rams.
Bengals late.
Okay. Last play of the game will be a kneel down. Yes or no? I'll go no. I think the Bengals have the ball last, and they're trying to make one last push.
No, it'll be a kneel down. I think Rams get the ball back, and then they'll just call it a day.
All right.
Yep. Rams.
Yeah, Rams finished it that way. I agree.
All right. Total touchdowns over under 5.5.
Well, basic prediction.
Based on my prediction, I got to go no. I got to go under.
No, I have 23-17. So that's 3 touchdowns only.
I have 31-21, so yes.
I have 31-18, so I'm saying yes again by half a point, half a touchdown in this case.
Total game turnovers over under 2.5. I'll go over.
Yeah, I'll go over. I see a 1 fumble, I see 2 picks. Yeah, I'll go over.
Yeah, I think each QB throws a pick, and we probably see a fumble somewhere. So over.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I got 1 turnover per. I got under.
Okay.
We also turn on downs too. So
are they counting that?
I doubt that counts. I'm assuming. Yeah, but I think when you're talking actual turn, like I don't think, like on like a stat line on a box score, I don't think a turnover on downs counts as a turnover.
I will asterisk to say if that's the case, if they count turnover on downs, that it is over. Yes.
Yeah, without question. Total points scored, odd number, even number. Odd number.
Well, 23-17 is 40, so that's even number for me.
Even for me.
Yeah, I got 49, so I got odd.
All right. MVP position, quarterback or other? I'm going to go other.
I think Stafford gets it. So,
okay.
Yeah, QB.
Stafford earned his middle name, QB.
All right, there you go. And then the color of the Gatorade bath, yellow or orange. Let's say it says yellow or orange / any other outcome. So it's basically yellow or the field. I'll go with the field.
I'll go field too.
I will go yellow.
I too got yellow.
Okay. I think it'll be blue. And the Rams go with the blue.
The blue eye stuff is so bad too. Damn it.
And it's the easiest stuff to pour out. Actually, I think the lemon lime is hot garbage as well. So either way,
your face is hot garbage.
Hey, that's a refreshing beverage.
Oh, it's awful.
It's not the best
your
one.
Face is awful.
Fruit punch,
popcorn, you hater.
Orange and 1 and 2.
I need to get some popcorn for this weekend. You're right.
Damn it, Jim. How do you not have it already?
I ate it all.
Yeah.
Again, the best answer to that question.
I mean, I'm a fat guy. What do you want?
I too am a fat guy, and I'm a fat guy that got to eat SoFi food at the stadium today.
How was it?
The weakest thing on the menu was the pizza. If you go to the SOTG, my Instagram, you'll see a picture of the food in question. Thank you. The pizza is just regular stadium pizza, but the barbacoa burrito was awesome. The hamburger sub was awesome, and the jalapeno cheese sausage was great. So there you go.
Oh, how about that? All right. That is going to wrap us up going into Super Bowl weekend. We will be back next week. And then from there, our schedule will change fairly dramatically for the offseason, but we'll touch on that as the time comes. Kyle, let the people know what's going on.
You know, I didn't think there would be a bigger crime than your brother hating crinkle fries, but you came out with these garbage-ass Gatorade takes, and now you and I have to have a come to Jesus meeting.
Oh, come on. I love the crinkle fries, though. Doesn't that amount for something?
It helps. It saves your life. I'll put it that way. No, of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter as the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG, where you can see the food of SoFi Stadium soon enough, as soon as I post it, if I haven't already. Of course, check out my work with the 3-point conversion, where you'll see everything I write about the upcoming Super Bowl. An upcoming piece here that hopefully gets released tomorrow will be about Joe Burrow's swag getting more attention than it should. And, of course, my work with the Black and Gold Banneret. When I'm back in Orlando, I will be covering college basketball in the form of the UCF men's and women's basketball teams. And, hey, tournament time's coming for the American. That's going to be a fun watch all the way around. So, yeah, and there's this other guy I hang with, EJ. He tells me football is awesome. And, of course, my friend Demosthenes Euclid. Once I'm back in town and all the Super Bowl crazy's gone, there will be episodes recording once again. And so look out for that as well. Gentlemen, an honor, joy, and privilege. But until next time, class dismissed.
Matt, let the people know.
Yep, you can find me on Twitter. It's at 3CT Affiliate. You can hear me on Thursdays on 3 Count Thursday Wrestling Podcast. Not this week. I will be off, but starting back up next week. So, yes.
My kid's awake again.
Oh.
You okay, bud?
That's it for me.
All right, perfect. EJ, can you get it in quick?
Yes, I could get in. First of all, Kyle, I can't find a pizza on the Instagram. I can't find what you're talking about. I'll do it later.
I'm sharing it again right now.
First Week Podcast Network on all podcast platforms. We'll be launching a new concept very soon that Kyle leaked out already the name of the concept. But we'll talk about it later. I'm on Twitter, each57. Other than that, enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy the week. It's been a great season doing the show. Jim, Matt, Kyle.
All right, you can follow me at Big Jim Sports, but make sure you are following along with the show at Huddle Up Podcast on Twitter and on Facebook. We are at Huddle Up Pod on Instagram. You can get our merchandise at whatupmaneuver.net. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and all podcast platforms now that the feed is back up and running. Our home network, NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com, and the secondary home is the Leap Sports and Music Network. Enjoy the big game, and until next time, go for the win.